why people often point at Christians and say, would you just get out of politics? Would you just stop talking about this stuff? Either talk about God and the gospel or talk about politics. They don't mix. Why should Christians care about what's going on in the European Union or what's going on in their own federal government?
Sure.
What value does that have if we're waiting for Christ to return?
To me, America has been given a great gift by God in our founding, an opportunity to live free. I mean, God is the author of freedom. From the garden, from the very first time, from the creation, God put that tree in the garden so that individuals would have an opportunity to say no to God. If there's no opportunity to say no, there is no freedom.
No.
And if there's no freedom, there's no love. You cannot love unless you have the freedom not to love. Okay? So from my standpoint, we as Christians in America particularly should start with the idea that we have been given a gift that we should steward. And that stewardship means we love people by freeing them from oppression of power over their lives. We do not love people by continuing to act as their parent until they're 80.
That's a good point.
This one of the problems that often happens with parents is that when their kids get to a point where they're of age to be able to make some of their own decisions, parents continue to try to make the decisions for them and try to use their power over their children to limit their options, to keep them safe. But safe is not the most important thing. Liberty is the greatest thing that God ever gave us, because if we didn't have liberty, we couldn't say yes to Him. We couldn't love Him. And so from my standpoint, Christians need to embrace liberty as a gift from God. And then as parents, parents need to let go and allow their children to choose for themselves how they should live and not support government force to act as a nanny to protect them, to limit their choices, to tell them when they can do things and when they can't, to allow people to live in their homes, but they don't really own them because they can be taxed. So from my standpoint, from a Christian standpoint, liberty is love, and it is a gift from God. And if I have the freedom to choose, say yes to God, then I should have the freedom to have sovereignty over my life, even if that leads to self-destruction. See, that's the whole thing. God doesn't keep us from self-destructing. And if God doesn't do it, government has no place doing that either.
That's true.
So that's sort of my view on that whole thing. And so why should Christians care about their own country, America? That's why I think. What we should think about other countries, we have been given by God the tools of prayer, persuasion, Holy Spirit power, and even service and self-sacrifice. So those are the tools that God has given us as Christians. And so if we feel that we would like to express love to the people of Europe, then we should go there or even just spend time in our closet praying for them for their liberty.
Yeah.
For God to reveal Himself as the one who truly loves us all and who wants us to be free. He doesn't want us to be oppressed by government. He wants us to be free of it all.
Yeah.
And we'll have this conversation at some point in the future about the broader, deeper meaning of things. But God warned us against government in 1 Samuel 8 when God listed all of the many things that were going to happen to the people of Israel because they chose to have a king, an earthly king, instead of Him as their king.
Mm-hmm.
And that list is long and it is oppressive. So we should love our neighbor as ourselves, and that means helping them to be free. And waiting patiently even when they make bad choices, being there to love them and care for them, show them the way, but leaving the choice of taking the right way to the individual.
Yeah.
That's love.